Why even have these Catholic schools then? That's what I'm going to say. Why have these Catholic schools? Jerry, maybe I can hear your comments. This is the first time I shared this with you, so I'm very curious to hear what you have to say. It's all about relationships, folks. Please call in 833-288-3986.
The most original and exclusive Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
I don't like looking back. I prefer to look forward and keep moving forward. There's plenty to cover. I do a lot of research and try to dig out the bits and pieces of a life or of an agenda that people don't want to talk about.
The World Over with Raymond Arroyo. Tonight, 8 Eastern on EWTN Radio and Television. The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
You know something about that new commandment the Lord gave us? You know what it says? That I should love you as much as the Father loves Jesus. But it doesn't say anything about you loving me. How do you like that? He didn't say you got to go around loving somebody. He said, I have to love you as much as the Father loves me. He didn't say, now you're going to get a return of love. In fact, he said, if you do that, if you love those who love you, the pagans do that. If you invite somebody to dinner and hope they invite you back, he said, the pagans do that. You got to invite people to dinner that won't invite you back. They don't have anything to invite you for. See, God doesn't think the way we do. We're so far away from the way God thinks.
For more information on Mother Angelica, visit Religious Catalog at EWTNRC.com.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you on EWTN Radio. I'm thinking of a Matt Maher song. It's Alive and Breathing or something like that. It says, if you're alive and breathing, praise the Lord. Well, if you're alive and breathing, we want you to call the program today because you have personal relationships. All right, all of us who are living right now, we have spouses, we have kids, we have neighbors, co-workers, gym workout partners. Maybe you're friendly with somebody at the grocery store. We're talking all about relationships today, and there are a lot of relationships that are not in right order. So maybe you've got a great one that you would like to share and inspire and uplift somebody, or maybe there's one that is a little bit challenging for you right now. Again, we're not counselors or therapists, but we all have relationships too, so we can talk through some of anything you want to go into and see if it might give you some thoughts or ideas for making it a little bit better. Our number is 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986. And there is a book available that I really want to encourage all of you to get a hold of. It's Graceful Living Meditations to help you grow closer to God day by day. This is by Johnette Williams. She shares pearls of wisdom from the saints, doctors of the church, and holy men and women designed to help you grow closer to God. That is what this life is all about. Each daily reflection will prompt you to delve deeper into your prayer life and self-examination and explore the timeless wisdom of the church with Graceful Living Meditations to help you grow closer to God day by Johnette Williams, available now at EWTNRC.com, where we encourage you to buy Catholic. So shop EWTNRC.com.
Before we get to John, we have some open phone lines. If you want to talk about relationships or about the news story that I kind of shared, that I read on one of the magazines and online this morning, please do so and comment about, do we compromise our beliefs because we like somebody, or they're in our family, or they're a classmate or a coworker, or somebody we hang out with, and we think, oh, they're a nice person, so it's okay if they're living, that kind of lifestyle, or they're doing that. It's all right. God loves everybody. Do we have that kind of, attitude just because we like somebody? Do we all of a sudden throw out all the non-negotiables that we have in our church and we say, it's okay, but I like so-and-so? Let's talk about it. 833-288 3986. Please fill those last open phone lines. And Jerry, I'm interested to hear your comments about the story. This first time you've heard it. You don't really know because you don't kind of follow reality TV shows and stuff like that, which is good for you. But I made the comment right before the break. I said, why do we even have these Catholic schools if that's what they're going to do? If they're going to compromise their beliefs because somebody has a ton of money or they like somebody or they're popular or they, why have Catholic schools if we're not going to teach Catholic teaching and stick to it?
Well, here's what I'll say to that. We have a real problem on our hands. And what I mean by that is we have a lot of our young people have been swayed by the culture and by society to accept things that are objectionable to our faith. And one example I can give is all of the years that you and I have traveled around hosting Catholic radio fundraisers on the air. I'm not going to mention the city where I went, but a lot of the stations have local guests on Knights of Columbus, teachers, different pro-life groups and so forth. And there was a young man who was on with us for an hour on a share-a-thon, and he was the morality. He was the teacher of morality at a Catholic high school in this city. And I don't think he shared this on the air, probably off the air, but he said of all the students in his class, only one accepted Catholic teachings on morality with regard to things like abortion, same-sex unions, and so forth. He said out of like 30 students, only one was really faithful to all of those things. And I was in shock. I thought, and I'm going, okay, now we know, Debbie, that the world is ganging up on our young people and just clobbering them with all sorts of, immoral, objectionable things. But, where's the morality being taught at home? That's a question that I have. It's hard to be a parent in any age, but in this age right now, parents have to be, I think, hyper vigilant of their kids, what they're consuming, where they're getting their information, and what they're believing, because their immortal souls are on the line once they finish their life in this world. So,
right.
I don't know if that answers your question, but.
Yeah, but thank goodness I'm not a mom of small children, because I would really be hesitant to send my child to a religious school if that's what's going to happen. I mean, what's the difference? Why pay all that money if that's what's going to happen? Really, seriously, I'm being practical. I mean, we really have to get back to what we really believe in and stick to it, and not let like what you're saying, Jerry, you're saying the society and the culture is driving religion. It should be the other way around. We are here to lead, and to, the Catholic Church should be the leaders and doing it right and consistent and true. Yeah, I'm so frustrated by this. You have no idea. I wanna like write someone something, and that's why I just shared it with you. Okay, so let's hear what John has to say in Long Island, New York, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, John. Welcome to the All About Relationships show.
Hi, Debbie and Jerry. Thanks so much for taking my phone call. I listen to you as I can. This is my second time calling you. But what's going on with me is that my priest suggested that I get myself married this year, and which seems like a wonderful advice to me, because I really would like to be married. My wife died 4 years ago, God rest her soul, and there's a couple of women in my life that may or may not pan out as being available and a viable marriage partner. So I'm just, I guess really what I just need to do is just be patient and see what the Lord provides and keep it in prayer. So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm coming from today. But I'm happy.
Well, good, John. That happiness is important, and there's no doubt that finding a new mate to spend some of your remaining years with would enhance that happiness. We're obviously sorry about the loss of your wife, but is this priest kind of like a spiritual director to you, or is he somebody that you like meet with regularly and kind of share your basically interior, your deepest life with? I mean, that's what a spiritual director is somebody that really knows you intimately inside and out. And this priest obviously encouraging you to get married. It sounds like he knows you, he knows your heart, he knows your soul and where you're coming from.
He doesn't really know me that well, but because my regular priest is away in India right now, so that's why I went to confession to him. But he seems to be a holy man and seems to be able to, see the deeper part of a person. So I feel, pretty confident that, what he says and observed in me is accurate.
Well, good then. We are doing a program tomorrow, actually, asking you people, are you aware of signs and symbols that God is present? And I bring that up, John, just simply for the fact that, God can give us signs. He can work through what other people say, like this priest. I remember when I was discerning going into the seminary, I had experiences of, for example, one priest who didn't even know me asked me if I had considered ever going to the seminary. And so, those are things you need to really pay attention to. It could be definitely a sign from God. Obviously, lots of prayer, lots of discernment, and of course, spending healthy time with each of these women, to see if one of them is a good, compatible match for you, and see where God leads you. But Debbie, I know you've got some thoughts on this as well.
Well, along the same line, I'm so glad you identified that, that John, you very much respect that priest that gave you that beautiful kind of go ahead, like the green light. You're free to marry and to go ahead and look in that direction. John, the one thing I just would reiterate what Jerry was saying. Jerry and I are both certified life coaches, and we do a lot of life coaching on standtalltoday.com. And by the way, John, you were sharing about, your wife and God rest her soul. She passed away 4 years ago. We're doing a webinar next week about when people have lost, like when they lose their spouse and then they have all this financial stuff, in front of them and they don't know what to do. And one of our coaches, Matt Cooney, is going to be doing a wonderful webinar next Wednesday, the 19th. So folks, go to standtalltoday.com if you're in that position that you have a loss and a crisis or some situation and you want to pick up the pieces. But John, along that line, I want to say, I digressed a little bit. Please forgive me. But John, I wanted to say, I agree with Jerry. Okay, signs, symbols. God is working through the radio right now. God is working in your heart. God is working through people. God is working through images and all sorts of things. It is so key to stay how you are, rooted in God, in the best state of grace you can be in that place of discernment. Pray a lot. Pray the rosary. Ask Our Lady to bring the right person in your life. And the only thing that I would say, John, is maybe, just maybe, think about this and pray about it. Just let it organically unfold. And what I mean by that is sometimes we force relationships. Let the relationship just unfold, because God and the guardian angels has a miraculous way of just putting all the right pieces in place. And with that, Jerry and I could speak for Jerry because he's nodding his head, so in agreement. We wish you the best. This is going to be, I think, an exciting year for you, John, something that you get to look forward to. And, keep us posted. Maybe we'll get a wedding invite soon.
Okay, I sure appreciate your help and have a beautiful rest of the day.
You too, John. Thanks for calling in from Long Island. 833-288-3986, talking all about relationships today. What is one that you would like to discuss? We would love to maybe, walk it through with you here on the air. 833-288-3986. Up next is Mary in Tallahassee, Florida, listening on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hello, Mary. Welcome to Take Two.
Hello. How are you doing?
Doing very well. Thanks for calling.
Well, as I was telling the person who answered the phone, I was just going to tell Debbie that, I agree with just being upset about the school and about the article that came out in the magazine or online. I don't know. I didn't read class and their classmates, but their children. So maybe it could be addressed by the school board or the teachers to come out and just say, well, we understand how you feel, but this is what we teach and this is our religion. And that's really all I had to say about that. I mean, I know they go to synagogue, so how would they like it if somebody was going to a Jewish school and, they didn't like what they were teaching over there? You could also flip that like that. Then I was also going to just address people want to be part of fellowship and your relationships with your coworkers. I go to work and then my boss will say, we just want to be a group, a family, on. And I'm like, well, okay, that's great, but I don't have the same ideas, or maybe my morals are different, my thoughts are different, I'm a different type of person, here are my values. I don't really speak that, but I can get along with people, but I don't really consider them my family. My family's my family, and my work is, it's my job. I try and get along with people and be friendly, but of course, I don't fall in with them, and I don't, I can, speak my mind about items that I feel I don't agree with to a certain point. That's all.
Yeah, well, I would like to comment. I'm hearing a little bit of feedback, Jerry. Why don't you go ahead and talk? Because let me fix the computer here.
Okay. Well, Mary, thanks for calling, and I think you have a good insight, a good perspective on this. As you were talking, you talked about people want to be part of groups and friendships and social circles and so forth, and that's only natural. I think we all definitely want to do that. Unfortunately, in some cases, in far too many cases, including even when the church and Catholic institutions like schools are involved, it ends up being people kind of gather and come to agreement, quote unquote, around the lowest common denominator. And I think our responsibility, our obligation before God is to help people to step up, to rise up, and not saying that we're better than them, but simply if we intellectually and spiritually hold to higher realities and higher truths, we are called to try and help people come to that same place as well. And that's what I mean by step up, rise up a little bit. Give them a hand in doing that if necessary, but not watering down, not compromising the faith or the truth in any way. So, Debbie, go ahead now if you want.
Yeah, this is much better now. Sorry, Mary, I wanted to comment. I had to adjust my headphones. But, Mary, back to that story that's coming out of kind of reality TV show land, sort of Hollywood land. The problem is it's a high school. And this family is very financially involved with this school. And I'm not trying to say anything, but they're kind of a little bit in a pickle because everybody's searching for the funds to keep their schools afloat because of what happened through the pandemic. So that's number one. Number two is I actually blame this family more than I blame the school because they came out and did a public statement saying that what was being taught in religion class was homophobic. That is not true. We are teaching what our church believes, the tenets of our faith. So you're spot on, Mary. If we went into somebody else's, religious denomination school and said, we don't like that because you're not talking about this or that, they would probably throw us out. So you know what? Let's talk about it some more. Mary, thank you so very much. It's all about relationships here on Take Two today.
This is EWTN Catholic Radio.
There's a certain kind of prayer people are often afraid to say, those really honest prayers. The prayer of St. Augustine when he prayed, Lord, help me be pure, but not yet. The prayer of Job when he was complaining, God, why did this happen to me? The prayer of Mary when Lazarus died. If you had been here, Lord, my brother wouldn't have died. Where were you? The prayers I find myself saying sometimes in difficult moments in life when I'm at the end of my rope. Lord, I can't do this. You gotta kick in here. I think people refrain from those prayers because we think they're unholy, or maybe God can't take it. Or maybe we think we're faking him out by pretending we have it all together and everything's great and we're as pious as can be. Listen, be honest with God. You can't hide yourself from him. He wants honest prayers because he doesn't just want your words, he wants your heart. And when you pray with all your heart, the answer you might get might not be a change in your circumstances, but I guarantee you, it'll change you. This is Chris Stefanik from RealLifeCatholic.com.
Want to be notified when Take Two with Jerry and Debbie goes live on Facebook? Follow EWTN Radio's Facebook page and click on the bell icon to be notified.
This is Bob Groppe, General Manager of Divine Mercy Radio in Melbourne, Florida. Catholic Radio has been providing Catholics and others solid ground in these particularly troubling times with news including threats to our culture, situational on-air counseling, apologetics for Catholics and others, and biblical teaching for growth and holiness. Catholic Radio is not just radio, it's radio that makes a difference.
The world needs EWTN Catholic Radio, now more than ever.
Hi, this is Janet Williams. We embrace the essence of feminine spirituality on Women of Grace tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern here on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Well, a lot of our listeners agreed with Mary's call from Tallahassee, Florida. So thank you, Mary, so very much. You dropped off before we could, properly say goodbye and wish you a happy new year. But thank you so very much. And, these are the kinds of things we want to bring to the table and talk about so we could really, truly defend our faith, hold on to our faith, and promote our faith. Otherwise, we're going to water it down so much, we're not even going to, recognize our faith anymore. And that's a problem. I'm just going to say that from a religious education angle there. But Jerry, we have full phone lines. We have a lot of comments coming in, text messaging coming in. A lot of folks are saying, Jerry, in general, I just kind of scanned over a bunch of the messages. They're saying it's time we start practicing, living, and spreading the truth.
Mm-hmm. Very well put. Absolutely. It wasn't that long ago, maybe I might go back a couple generations, when the world actually looked to the Catholic Church for moral guidance, to be a moral compass. And, of course, the Church objectively still is that moral compass. Our teachings cannot change. It's just how they've been presented, how they've been lived out. I think how we have lived out our faith and our moral beliefs is really a key. And so, yeah, I agree. We cannot compromise. We can't water things down. And that's happened to a great extent. We need to try and reverse that trend as best we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you know what? I think it starts with walking the walk and talking the talk. We have to really start living the faith. Okay, Mike in Yuma, Arizona, Sirius XM 130. Mike, thank you so much for waiting and welcome.
Thank you. Okay, basically, I'm 79 years old, and in the late 90s, my wife was diagnosed with a debilitating disease that destroys the muscles in the body. It's called polymyositis. And initially, my feelings are that communication kind of stopped. You got to have communication in a relationship, and it was very difficult, And I went through all the factors of anger and everything else. But I had a lot of time helping her. She's still here right now. She's in the house right now. I'm a full-time caregiver. I've been that way for about the last 5 years. But anyhow, I thought a lot at night, the nights that I couldn't sleep, that I was getting up with her and things like this. And I thought about relationships. And relationships, all kinds of relationships. There's relationships between countries, there's relationships between parents, there's relationships and spouses and children and friends. And all of them are a little bit different, but they each got a common factor, I think, of giving. Now, I'm not a social worker or anything else like that. I'm just an old sailor, but that's the way that I kind of interpreted it. And I thought about relationships, and then I've been listening to the radio station here for about the last 18 months, and I really enjoy it. And I've learned a lot. And I think, what can I do to improve the relationship? And one of the things that I've thought about is that they got to be in the mood to listen. If they're not listening, so you need to, if you got a strained relationship, you got to smooth across to tell them something good, that you care for them or whatever the case might be, and then they will listen. But on relationship, I started thinking about all the people that have helped me in my life and how many times I've been blessed, and they probably didn't even realize that they were doing things like this to help me. And I started thinking about relationships. What is my relationship with God? Am I doing enough? Is he my best friend? Do I fear him? I don't fear him. He's my best friend because he's always been there. Are you there?
Yeah, we're here. Sure.
Okay. And so that's kind of my story. So I think, it's drawn me much closer. I just feel bad that my wife has to suffer for this lesson that I needed to learn.
Wow.
And we will continue on.
Wow, Mike, that is an amazing insight. Just what you said, right? Kind of a punchline right there. Everything you said was absolutely beautiful. But you're recognizing in this situation, like you said, your wife, unfortunately, having to go through what she's going through for you to learn a valuable, important lesson. And what I'm hearing, the lesson that you have learned, is that you're doing what's required to become a saint. You're upholding your marriage vows, sickness and in health, for better or for worse, and your relationship with God. Remember, Fulton Sheen wrote that book, 3 to Get Married. It's the husband, it's the wife, it's Jesus at the center. All three are really making up that marriage, and your relationship with God is being lived out in the way that you care for your lovely bride of I think you said 54 years or something like that. So I think it's beautiful what you're doing. God bless you for that. It's got to be challenging for you at times, but we would love to. Debbie's got some comments, and she would love to get perhaps your wife's name if you're willing to give it, because we have a book of people that we pray for, Mike. So, Debbie, go ahead.
Well, Mike, do you feel comfortable? I put you in the book and your wife. You just said Mike's wife, but if you feel comfortable giving us her first name, I will add her.
Add her Mary.
I'm sorry?
I have her Mary.
Mary. Oh, Mike and Mary. That's my grandparents' name. I love that. Do we, Mike, go ahead and make a comment, and then I have to quickly say something. Go ahead.
I need to drop off because she's calling for me right now, so I have to go.
Okay.
Okay, then I'm just going to comment on this for everybody, and you can listen later. And please tell Mary we're sending her love and prayers. Okay, so this is for everybody. Mike shared something so beautiful, Jerry, about the sacramental marriage, and you tapped into it and you said it so strongly, which I love. I absolutely love that about you. When you say something, it has a commanding voice. Oh. I love that. Here's the thing, Jerry. I had a theology professor that used to say this all the time. Ask the right questions. Ask the right questions. Why are we here? What is the reason we are here? Are we here to go on a million vacations and own a yacht and play golf and play tennis and eat out at dinner and go to the movies? Are we here? Those are all added bonuses and experiences of life, right? And they're wonderful. They're wonderful, but why are we here? We're here to get back in union with God. That means sainthood. Mother Angelica talked about it all the time. Okay? So when Mike was sharing that his wife had to suffer so that he could learn a lesson, but it's really the two of them together, and they're doing the right thing. They're doing the godly thing, and they're growing closer to God. And that's what we're all called to do, is to get back to God. So the quicker we do it, I think deathbed conversions are wonderful, don't get me wrong, but I think there's a lot of wasted time there. We have every moment we're breathing, we have a chance to get closer to God. And I'm going to pray today that Mike and Mary have abundant blessings around them to continue as they get closer and closer each day as husband and wife in the sacrament of marriage through suffering. I'm sure they do have some laughter and some fun times, but through the suffering, they're getting closer to God each and every day.
Beautiful. All right, Mike, there you go. Thank you. Prayers will be going out for you and Mary from not only us, but the entire Take Two show team and Take Two family around the world. We have a line open talking all about relationships today. If there's one you would like to discuss, get on that open phone line at 833-288-3986, and we'll go to Kathy, holding patiently in Washington, Michigan, listening on Ave Maria Radio. Hi, Kathy. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. Debbie, I probably can't articulate this as well as you did, but when you told me about that school in California, that just gave me such a sick feeling in my stomach. First of all, kids today at that age are so impressionable, as it's been already spoken about. They're looking for approval. They're looking for, excitement. People send their children to a Catholic school for different reasons. And the problem is, how many parents are stronger than their children? like they want their kids to push back on certain things and say, that's not right. We love the person, hate the sin type of thing. But how many parents really, even at our age, have the courage to even talk to their kids and say, listen, you got to think of what's going on here. This is really not right. And to me, I think there's just so much diabolical influence going on today in not only there in the schools, but even in our church, because you're going to get different opinions from Catholic schools about that. And they're going to say, okay, you know what, we're not going to get into a big controversial debate over this. Let's just, let things lie low. And yet at the same time, I think the administrators and the teachers and the priests, whoever run that school, they need to sit down with that impressionable family, because they're giving, the world bigger power than God can give them. God will give them those words of wisdom, because I really think that if we don't do something, we're losing, instead of gaining one soul at a time, we're losing these beautiful, precious souls, and they need courage to push back. And we as parents have to be the strong ones, because let's face it, we're going to be persecuted. We are now, and we got to be able to fight the good fight. And, it made me kind of sick when you were talking about that, because my own daughter took her kids out of the public school and put them in a Christian school because there wasn't a Catholic school that had really solid Catholicism. And, I don't know if I heard it in a talk show or something, but somebody says the greatest way to lose your children to Catholicism is to send them to a Catholic school. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's concerning me.
Yeah, it can be, Kathy. There are schools that have the Catholic banner, and they're not practicing the Catholic faith at various levels. They pick and choose what they're going to decide to focus on. Very unfortunate. There's Catholic schools right now that kind of cringe when a pro-life speaker wants to come on campus and speak. Really? Exactly. A pro-life speaker? I mean, this is ridiculous when I think about it. But Kathy, I just want to go back to the beginning. Thank you so much for the nice, kind words. But you said it beautifully. And I think much more powerfully than I could have ever said. I think it was wonderful how you shared with our worldwide audience. But it's time we start speaking the truth, like you're saying, and stand up and not be afraid of people with money and people who have power and influence. And we speak the truth. I would have respected this family if they had said, hey, we chose to put our child in a Catholic school. This is what the Catholic school teaches. It's not for us to make judgments that they're prejudiced or homophobic, but they came right out like they just made a judgment. That in and of itself is prejudice. That's not right. And so we're chipping away, Kathy. I see it because I've been in ministry for over 30 years. I actually emailed my bishop here in Arizona, Bishop Olmsted. He's wonderful. And I reminded him that I have 32 years of ministry work in the Diocese of Phoenix. That's a long time, Kathy, and I've seen a lot of changes. And I will tell you, and I'm not trying to be gloom and doom to everybody, but we are chipping away at our faith a little piece at a time, and eventually it's going to be unrecognizable, and it's going to be all over the place, and it's going to just be splintered and fractured all over the place, and no one's going to know what to believe anymore. It's very unfortunate. We need to get back to the truth, and we need to get back to the tenets and beliefs of our faith. And Kathy, you said the word. We may be persecuted, and guess what? That's great. We'll be martyrs, and we'll get to heaven right away. That's how I look at it, Kathy. What do you think, Jerry?
I agree with everything that you have said, and you, Kathy, as well. And Kathy, thanks for calling and really, helping us to kind of accentuate this point here. The image that comes to my mind is, the frog in the kettle of water. You put the frog in the room temperature water on the stove, and the frog feels nice and warm and fuzzy. And boy, this is just like being out in the swamp, and he feels really good in his he feels like it's his natural environment. You slowly turn up the heat. The frog doesn't recognize it until he dies, so it's incremental. Debbie was talking about, chipping away one little piece at a time. And we have to take our faith lock, stock, and barrel full, the whole catechism. John Martinoni, who hosts a show on EWTN, he used to talk about, I can't remember what he did, but he would take a book and he would tear a little section out of it and say, well, I want all of the catechism except this section, and I want all the catechism except this section. No, it's not cafeteria Catholicism. It's we got to take the whole thing, whether we really like it or not. Whether we understand it or not. The Catholic faith is about, there's a Latin phrase, fides quaerens intellectum, faith seeking understanding. Okay, we have to somehow assent in faith to the teachings of the church, even if we don't fully understand, but it's faith seeking understanding. We can go after an understanding of that and learn that, but that's not being done a lot of times today. So,
what do you think, Kathy?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely agree. I see it at work. I'm involved in the pro-life movement, and now we have to take a new strategy because we have all these, protesters out there every week when we're out there trying to help these women, and now they're giving us new guidelines to go across the street but not give up. The prayer is so powerful, and what a good thing is that normally we were able to, not to digress, but normally we were able to talk directly to these women going in there, but now we're like on the median across the street praying. But I found that's interesting because I've been praying more rosaries, which is so powerful, versus, trying to interact with these, or these pro-aborts that are out there. They're almost satanic. They wear these signs that say, Hail Satan. They throw incense at us. There's all kinds of stuff going on, but I'm not afraid. It's amazing. I don't want to be a martyr, but if that's the way I have to go, I hope I have the strength,
Yeah. Well, stay, Kathy, stay close to Our Lady like you are, because when Our Lady comes into the room, the demons cannot stand it and they want her gone. So stay close to her, and you are with the rosary. So, and that'll give you the strength, the grace, and the peace to get through anything, even a death. It'll get it. That's the amazing thing. If you look at the lives of the saints, the martyred saints, you'll see that so many of them had the grace to endure all the pain and the suffering through it because they rose above it, if you will. The grace was there because they were so close to the heavenly side. So Kathy, no fear. You've got this. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for you guys for all you do. If you're ever in Michigan, I want you both over for dinner.
Oh, God bless you.
That's
sounds
a deal.
Great. Yeah.
That's a deal. Send us an email. We might be there. We might be there at the end of this year. So take2@EWTN.com.
Oh, absolutely. You stop at my place first.
Okay.
Thanks, Kathy.
All right, take care.
You got to have hot sauces though, Kathy, because Jerry likes lots of hot sauces.
Okay. Well, I'll have to get your preferences. All right. Thanks so much.
God bless.
Hey, Jerry, we got a dinner. We got a dinner meal.
Yeah. We just got to figure out a reason to get to near Washington, Michigan, and then we got
Very
it.
Cool. Yeah, we'll create something. There'll be a reason, as long as we get a good meal. I love home cooked meals. Okay, you were going to share about Vespers.
Yeah, we're going to get to Jay in Anchorage just a second here. I wanted to mention that Sunday night at 6 Eastern on EWTN television and radio essentials, I should say, the Franciscan Missionaries of the Eternal Word celebrate Vespers and Benediction of the Blessed Sacrament. Vespers is evening prayer, and then Benediction of the Blessed Sacrament from Our Lady of the Angels Chapel. So you can actually take part in that beautiful, beautiful service on Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, again on EWTN television and radio essentials.
Okay, we're going to go to Jay, and Jay is in Anchorage, Alaska, and we're going to send Jay the Virtual Patience Award, Jay, so all the way to beautiful Alaska. Welcome to Take Two.
Hey, Debbie and Jerry, how are you guys doing this morning?
Doing pretty well, Jay. Thanks for your call.
Thank you. Honestly, I'm going to have to make a lot of people mad because I totally disagree with what everybody's saying.
Okay, tell us why, Jay. That's okay. Tell us why.
Well, because not saying that I like the same sex, okay? Because I don't. But the thing is, there's a lot of people in this world that doesn't have that they can't find their significant other, just because if they are too fat or not pretty enough, whatever it may be, if the Y or X chromosome is more than the other, some people cannot find their loved one, And with that being said, there's so much people out in this world that is so scared to come out of the closet. Like, they should come out as who they are and what their genes tell them to be.
You mean you talking about people with the same sex attraction, Jay? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, first of all, again, thank you for your phone call. And you're right. For a lot of people, finding a life mate, someone of the opposite sex, that is the teaching of the church, one man, one woman, it's difficult. I remember when I was in college, a good friend of mine, he went all 4 years at college, very sound, Orthodox, dynamic Catholic university environment, and his main priority was finding a woman to marry before he graduated, and that didn't happen. He graduated. I think he's probably gone on to be married now. But the thing is, you made the point, Jay, that people are afraid to, quote, come out of the closet. I think you said. I would disagree with that. I think in today's environment, people feel absolutely empowered. We have teenagers, we have preteens, we have adults, we have, you name it, are coming out and feeling comfortable doing so. Even now in professional football, my favorite team, the Raiders, had a gentleman, one of their players, come out as being, openly gay. So I don't think that there's a hesitation on the part of people right now. Now, I don't know if you have. Go ahead, Jay. If you've got anything else to add, we want to make sure that we hear what's on your heart.
Some people in their family, they don't accept you being bisexual or even gay just because family oriented, however they are raised. It loses out on a lot of love out there, And who says these two lovers, in particular this young girl, let's say you said that she comes from a wealthy family, correct?
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
Well, let's say she finds her lover, which is another female, and they decided, they don't care about sex. They just love each other because they know a lot about each other, and they are comfortable with each other.
Right.
He says that they need sex, but yet there's so much kids out here that's like homeless. So let's say if it's not like repopulating the earth, I think we are good with the population of Earth already. Mm-hmm. Let's say these two young ladies, whoever it may be, let's say they are so
you're saying if they're chaste.
Yeah.
Okay, but Jay, Jay, let me jump in because we're going to run out of time because I hear your heart. Okay, I hear your heart and I understand it completely. I want to share something with you. I have 2 family members who are in same-sex relationships. Okay, so you're talking to somebody that I understand this very, very well. Okay, but please understand what I'm sharing here, and that is, because we've taken God out of it, Jay, we now have blurred everything. So now a person has a same-sex attraction. So now we should ignore what God says about marriage being one man, a man and a woman. Now we say, okay, we're going to change that. We know better than God. We're going to change that, and we're going to validate that and bless that, right? Because that we are trying to show our love. That's just not true, Jay. Because here's the thing. The love we show to one another is because we're created in the image and likeness of God, and that means to get back to God, and that means to do what God tells us to do, and to know, love, and serve God. So you are spot on, absolutely spot on. If a same-sex folks come together and they have a chaste, very, very wholesome, very godly type of relationship, then so be it, because it's not offending God. But when you start transitioning and into relationships that now you're saying that's a marriage and we're going to have kids and we're going to, we want the same exact kind of godly position that sacramental marriages have, Jay, there's a real problem there, because what we're doing then is saying that everything God taught us is a lie. And that's not true. Okay, God teaches us the truth. We're the ones who live in a lie. I do agree with you, Jay. We have to get a better catechesis because people are blurring the images again, and they're taking the person and not loving the person, and that is wrong and that is sinful. We are called to love the person and love that person deeply into a call to holiness and a call to sainthood. We are not called to hurt that person or make judgments on that person. That is wrong and sinful. So we have to separate the beautiful person, that soul, that human soul, from the activities and the choices and the lifestyles. Did you hear my heart on that one, Jay?
I definitely did. Then, I mean, at one point I would totally agree with that, but nowadays, I can't, because there is so much development in this world that's happening that we have to go with what it is that's going on. And then where did God say that we cannot love each other as sexual neighbors?
Well, Jay, the example I would give is Jesus at the Last Supper. The beloved disciple John reclined at Jesus' breast. Nothing unseemly about that. It was just a disciple loving his Savior. And there can be, Debbie talked about it, there can be very beautiful relationships between people of the same sex. That's not what we're talking about here. But what your last point was that there's been so many developments in the world, we just got to get in lockstep with that. No, we need to hold firm to what God has given us and try to bring the world into that. That is the moral obligation that we have. Jay, thank you. Wish we had more time.
Yes, and Mark and Sister Doris and Elizabeth, we're not going to get to you, but please call us back again, maybe on an unscripted show. Until tomorrow, have a beautiful and blessed day. St. Joseph, please pray for us.
The most original and exclusive Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
Hi, I'm